Welcome or welcome back to our study of the Gospel of Matthew. Today we are wrapping up the infancy narrative of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel, and we are going to be looking at chapter 2, verses 13 to 23, beginning with 13 to 15, and this is immediately following the visit of the Magi, which we talked about in the last video. After the Magi, had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. So Joseph arose and took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. They remained there until the death of Herod, so that what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled. Out of Egypt I have called my son. Just like the Magi, Joseph gets a warning in a dream that the child's life is in danger. So he takes Jesus and his mother Mary, and they flee into Egypt. And again, we note here that the scripture says that he took the child and his mother. It doesn't say that Joseph took his wife and child. So there's this emphasis that he's not the father of Jesus. He's the guardian of Mary and her child. He's not the biological father of Jesus, but the foster father. The fact that Joseph flees into Egypt is very significant. Here's what St. Augustine writes about this. Moses before had shut up the light of the day from the traders the Egyptians. Christ, by going down there, brought light back to them that sat in darkness. He fled that he might enlighten them, not that he might escape his foes. So you see, everything in the life of God's people has come full circle. The Messiah, who will inaugurate the great Passover, the great Pascha, the resurrection of the dead and the life of the age to come, again takes refuge in Egypt. And in this, the prophet Hosea's words are fulfilled. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. Next up is verses 16 to 18. When Herod saw that he had been outwitted by the wise men, he became extremely angry. He dispatched his men and killed all the male children who lived in Bethlehem and all the surrounding countryside, 2 years old and under, according to the exact time which he had learned from the wise men. And so what had been spoken by the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, she would not be comforted, because they are no more. So Herod, being this man with a massive ego, is outraged that he's been fooled by the Magi. And on these verses, St. John Chrysostom writes, surely this was not a case for anger, but for fear and awe. Herod ought to have perceived that he was attempting impossible things, but he is undeterred. For when a soul is insensible and incurable, it yields to none of the medicines given by God. So Herod takes the nuclear option, and he kills all male children born within the window that he's learned that the new king came into the world. And another prophecy is fulfilled, this time Jeremiah, Rachel weeping for her children. And the Orthodox Study Bible writes, Jeremiah recorded the people of Jerusalem being led away to exile. On their way to captivity, they passed Ramah, which was near Bethlehem, where Jacob's wife Rachel lay buried. In his prophecy, Jeremiah saw Rachel, even from the grave, moved with compassion for the fate that had befallen her descendants. Here, Rachel is again weeping for her children, showing that the saints in heaven have awareness and compassion for those yet on earth. The Orthodox Study Bible also reminds us that these slaughtered children are regarded as saints and martyrs in the Church and are known as the Holy Innocents, and we celebrate their memory on the Sunday after Christmas. The final verses of this chapter are 19 to 23. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream when he was in Egypt, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and return to the land of Israel. Those who were trying to kill the young child are dead. Joseph arose and took the young child and his mother, and they came into the land of Israel. However, when Joseph heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Being warned in a dream, he withdrew into the region of Galilee. He thus arrived and lived in a city called Nazareth. so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. After Herod's death, Joseph, again in a dream, is told that it's safe to go home. Well, it's kind of safe to go home because there's still the problem of Archelaus, Herod's son. So he decides to go into Galilee, into this town called Nazareth. The Orthodox Study Bible has this observation. Matthew may have been alluding to passages in which the Messiah was despised, since Nazareth did not have a good reputation. And again, this reminds us of how the Messiah is identifying with those out on the fringes. It's not to the privileged, it's not to the inner circle that he comes, but he makes his abode with those who are rejected, those who are downcast, those who are the write-offs of society. Next time, we'll turn to Matthew chapter 3, which is the beginning of Jesus' messianic ministry. Thanks for joining me today, and until then, take care, and God bless.